Pursuant to Chapter 2 of the Acts of 2023, this meeting will be conducted in person and via remote means in accordance with applicable law. Every effort will be made to ensure that the public can adequately assess the proceedings to the best of our technical abilities, and despite our best efforts due to lack of technical infrastructure, a transcript or other comprehensive recording of the proceedings will be available as soon as possible after the meetings. Call this meeting to order. After 12 minutes late, so apologies. So we have before us department fee updates. So I will share. Lori sent over. All right, there we go. So. Great. All right, you want to start?
Should I stay here?
Yeah, you can start.
Okay.
Yeah, totally, yeah.
Good evening, my name is Lauren Hache, I'm the Assistant Health Agent for the Board of Health. And I put together a brief proposal to increase technically one of our fees and then add a couple of other fees that were lacking. So I did create a spreadsheet with some surrounding towns to do a fee comparison study. And it seems as our fees are pretty on par with Plymouth, Marshfield, Situate, and Cohasset. Those are the towns that I use to compare with the exception of the recreational camp fee that we have. So, on the next slide, we currently charge $15 for a recreational camp fee, permit, and inspection. And we're proposing an annual fee of $100. We don't have a lot of recreational camps in town, and I'll just go through the definition. A recreational camp for children is a day or residential overnight sports, travel, or wilderness program that offers recreational activities and instruction to campers. The local Board of Health is the permit granting authority for recreational camps. And the process includes multiple inspections to ensure compliance with the Department of Public Health regulatory standards. So when we receive an application, they typically come in around May, and it requires quite a bit of information. I listed some of the material that's required, obviously staff information, background review for staff. They have to get Corey and Sori, a copy of the literature, a healthcare policy, discipline, fire evaluation, disaster plan, lost camper plan, lost swimmer plan, traffic control. For day camps, they have to have a contingency plan. And then we also cannot permit or inspect until the building inspector has issued a current certificate of occupancy and the fire department has issued a written statement of compliance. So when we receive the paperwork, we meet at the campsite with the staff. It usually takes about half a day just going through all of the material, making sure that they have everything that they're supposed to have. And at that time, we can inspect the grounds. So in Duxbury, the two main camps that we have are Camp Wing, and then Bay Farm Montessori also has a day camp. So, and these camps have been in operation obviously for years. So they typically just change out what's in their binders, and update it based on staff and that sort of thing, so. We also, so we'll do the initial inspection, for overnight camps, we're walking the grounds, we're checking, the little cottages where the campers stay overnight. And then, once we issue the permit to open, then we go back for a supplemental inspection, to make sure that their staff has the appropriate documentation on them throughout the grounds. And also, they have to have updated camper information and signed medical release from parents, so we have to go through all of that documentation. So with that being said, we feel that $15 is just not adequate compared to the amount of work that goes into running and inspecting these camps. Are there any questions about recreational camps so far? No? Okay. And so then we also have a few fees that we'd like to add that aren't on our fee schedule currently. The first is an owner requested housing inspection. These are pre-occupancy inspections that require physical inspection and generating a report. We probably only do maybe 4 to 6 of these a year. But it's, it's time consuming and there's no fee right now. So when we look at our surrounding towns, most, if not all of those towns do have some sort of fee. So we are suggesting $75, 50 to 75, I think would be adequate. And these are typically for apartments that are subsidized. They require for, I think for, I know it used to be DHCD, I can't remember the acronym now, but they require an inspection from the Board of Health. We make sure that there's heat, there's hot water, outlets are covered, windows can open, it's safe.
Is there a standard checklist?
Yes, we do. We do have a checklist. We go through with the property manager, they sign off, we sign off, and they get that report so they can send it to the state.
About how long does it take you to do this?
Those are pretty quick because it's not, it's an empty apartment, so it probably takes us 10 minutes, 10 to 15 minutes. So maybe $50 is more appropriate. And then residential kitchen, also known as a cottage license. Those are increasing in popularity. They're very specific on what you can make in your home, baked goods, things that are shelf stable, they're non-TCS, they're not temperature controlled for safety. So we have quite a few in town. We have a few sourdough. We have somebody making salt. And so we don't have a line item for that. We've been charging these $95. Which seems to be similar in comparison to other towns. These require the same standards, so they have to apply, they have to submit their Serve Safe Manager certification, allergen awareness. And then we do an on-site inspection to look at how they're storing their ingredients and their warewashing, their setup. So that's once a year that we will go out and do that, but we feel that the $95 is appropriate for that, and that's an annual inspection and permit. We also would like to add a food establishment plan review. We don't have that currently in our fee schedule. It's not something that comes up too often, but when there's a new restaurant that comes into town, and they're making changes, if it's not already an existing restaurant, that would require a site plan review with the agent.
Did we just lose audio?
I think so.
Yep.
Repeat, because I didn't quite get it, the residential kitchen license fee. What is a residential kitchen?
So a residential kitchen, the state allows sort of like a caterer, but they can't they can't produce foods that require hot holding or cold holding. They have to be shelf stable foods, so breads, dry ingredients, cookies, things like that. And so,
Who would do this?
There's a cookie company on Instagram I follow. That's for
yeah, there's quite a few.
My friend does or no.
Operating out of there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Guidelines. They have to have their certifications in food safety. And
Interesting.
yeah, and we've had quite a few pop up since, I feel like since COVID. People are home more, are home more. So,
Yeah, COVID might have given a boost to that too.
yeah, or people start making things and when they're, giving it away and then that increases in popularity. So I think we have somebody that makes candies, very, specific items. There's certain things that you cannot. It's different from a
And there was
caterer.
one in the general store.
Right, no, a caterer, has to use a commissary or commercial kitchen,
Yeah.
so. But I think we have about 5 in town, candy, freeze-dried candy.
Yeah. It's red candy. Yeah.
We know Duxbury Salt Works or Saltery, she's out of her house now, so. And if they do want to go,
Saltery is no longer down at
no, Island Creek,
Island Creek.
no,
I was there once. I can see where they don't really need.
Yeah.
no,
that kind of
it's
space.
really,
Yeah.
It was
really
available.
interesting. It's so simple, it's like,
Yeah.
why didn't I think of
Yeah.
that? But those
Try some
types
more.
of things that require a permit to be able to, I guess, advertise on social media. They have to sell out of their house, they really aren't, they can go to farmers markets. So if somebody that has a residential kitchen wants to go to a Plymouth farmers market, the Plymouth Board of Health says, I wanna see your permit from the town that you're in, that you live in, your latest inspection, your serve safe, your allergen. They wanna see all of that, so that we're all on the same page. The one piece that we don't get involved is with wholesaling, and that's through the state, so we just give them the guidance to contact the state if they wanna do that.
So if somebody wants to expand to selling it at Brothers,
Right.
they'd go to the state.
At one point, Saltery did, and she did let me know they do have some stock from previously, and she just let the state know.
Thank you.
surprised we haven't lost power yet. It's flickering during the point it came in. Well,
And mine flickered a few times before I left the house.
Yeah.
what's the protocol for lose power there?
I don't know. That would be a first for me. Yeah.
In pursuant with rules, whatever, right, meeting.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
They still here on your computer?
And I'm just gonna assume,
There we go. All right, we're good. Welcome back.
So did anyone need me to repeat anything?
I have a question about the camping. Do we have any policies regarding quarry requirements for staff?
Yeah, so the camp is responsible for doing the quarry and a story on all of their staff. And then
Check that in
we
some
do.
sense, okay.
We do. So the two big camps that we have in town, they are very organized, prepared. They have a huge binder. And we just, and tabs and, traffic put in here, so quarries and stories, this is our staff. Lifeguards have to be, CPR certified and have their certifications, so we have to check through all of that. Which is where that just time consuming element comes in, and then with Camp Wing, we also conduct a separate fee permit, food inspection for their kitchen, and then pool inspection. But we can do that all in one day, so. Yeah, and then the last fee that we were hoping to add would be an outside consultant administrative fee. And this is a situation that we see quite a bit when we have 3 or more lots that require perk tests. For new construction, so any of the 40Bs, any sort of development. The town will hire our outside consultant, Pat Brennan, And so we have to coordinate that between the engineer and the developer. We have to get a quote from Pat. And then we set up an escrow account, so it takes some paperwork processing, and we don't have a fee in place. So we feel that $50 is appropriate for the work that goes into setting all of that up. And that's all we have.
Just out of curiosity, you gave us a spreadsheet that had the recreation camp on there, the drastic increase, and these are all new. Did you do any checking to see with those surrounding towns, do they have anything similar at all?
Yeah.
Any of these, other,
The new fees,
yeah, these?
so, let me look back, sorry. So for that housing
Oh, there they
section, yeah,
Thank
the pre-occupancy. There are some fees, the residential kitchen, they're kind of all over the place for that. The plan review, most of the towns do have that. And then as well as the consultant fee, although you'll see Plymouth has $750.
Yeah,
I think that's to establish the escrow as well. I don't think that's their administrative fee.
so that's really, successful, it's really not going to the town.
Right, so that's how we are right now. We take $1,000 and a W-9 and we'll set up an escrow account. So the administrative, the admin will process that paperwork and submit copies to accounting and then send it to the collector treasurer. They set up the escrow. And then as the invoices come in for that particular site, we process the invoice. We have to do all that data entry, so. And then the camp fee, you'll see, we're the lowest at 15. It's such a weird amount. Plymouth has 50, Marshfield 75, Situate 100.
I've been on the board for like 15 or 16 years. I don't ever remember any of these fees
I
being,
know.
so I assume they predate
Yeah,
by a while.
I've only been here, I'm approaching 5 years, and I believe the last time the fees came before you was 2019, but I'm not sure what.
Which ones?
Yeah.
All right, Andy or Ling, do you guys have any questions or are people ready to vote?
Ready to vote.
I don't have any additional comments other than I know from past experience with Board of Health dealing with the recreational camps that it's a lot more work than a $15 fee. So I would be in support of the increase.
Same here, I agree with that.
Okay, somebody want to make a motion?
Move we accept the proposed fees from the Board of Health.
Second,
Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Abstain? All right, motion carries 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 0, 0.
Karen is here.
Yeah, Karen's not here, yeah. And
Thank
Adam
you.
forgot, I'm looking at it. So,
Thank you very much.
thank you.
Thank you. Nice
Yeah, good job.
presentation. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Yeah, you can do all of these, absolutely. Yeah. All the same, please.
Yeah.
Awesome.
The trailer to watch out for trees. On the road.
Thank you.
That's how we. You know.
Thank you. Have a good night, everyone. Thank you.
Yeah.
You too. Take care.
Bye. Thank you.
Yeah, exactly, that'll work, that's fine.
Perfect. Just, you want me to go down here?
Yeah, that's fine, we can just go through I think we highlighted in yellow
Yeah.
any changes.
Perfect.
In a nutshell, we had the staff at the pool survey all the surrounding facilities. I always like to say, not everything with us is apples to apples because we're a unique facility, we're just a pool. So to compare a membership to a health club isn't fair, so our membership rates didn't change. We've That's strategic, and I think it's the right thing to do. If you've got, I'm not gonna say, well, I will, who cares? The Kingsbury Club, say, which has weights, tennis, all sorts of stuff. If their membership fee is here and ours is here, we get that niche of members that will come that just wanna swim. If we move too close to a facility that has
Other
10
amenities.
times the stuff we do, then I think you lose them. So what I think our strengths are our programs. So that's where you're gonna see these requests. I believe the last time we increased fees was 2017. So it's been quite a while. The market's changed quite a bit.
Kingsbury just went up too.
Did they? Yeah,
It's like on significantly.
yeah, it's, you know what, for us, again, our charge is still to keep things, it's a, you know, a town and taxpayer pool, residents will always get a better deal, but. For us, it's to provide a service at an affordable rate, just like we run summer programs, you know, where you come to a rec baseball camp, you're not gonna pay the same as if you go to a private club camp, so. That's kind of how we operate, and I think increasing these fees still keeps us in a very good position, I feel, to affordable as well as this increased revenue will help us. Just about everything's increased from chemicals, staff, all those costs have gone up. So if we want to just go to the first, our lesson fees. A resident member, as you can see, it was $86.40. We've bumped that up to $100. The 2-day a week for the same is at $200. Everything percentage wise stays consistent. Going down the non-member, they're at 110. Twice a week goes from 192 to 220. We keep scrolling. Non-resident member is 125. The 2-day a week is 250. And then the non-resident non-member, which would be our highest, would be up to 135 from 120 and from 240 to 270. Again, based on the market, still very good. A very good fair price for our facility. Then as we scroll down, miscellaneous fees are,
Just a quick question.
Sure.
How many people are taking advantage of lessons?
oh, they're growing. Since we were fortunate enough to, we used to run the facility with 3 full-time aquatics directors. That got cut down to 2, and then after COVID, we had a person resign, and then we never were able to fill the position. So we were going with 1 for a little bit, which we had to close the day. We weren't able to offer things. Since we added that second person a little over a year ago, our lessons have gone up over 50%. And what gets represented in our line item for lessons is our aqueducts, which is our in-town swim team, which is the most popular thing we have down there. We probably, before we added that second person, we might have had 60, 70 people on a wait list that we were able to add those kids. And again, what that is kind of what I described earlier. If you wanted to join a high-end swim team, a club, AAU type program, you may spend anywhere between $4,000 and $7,000 a year. Where ours,
You're
you're
driving somewhere.
correct, where ours, you're spending a few $100s a year. Our goal is not, it's gotten more competitive just based on the kids are getting better and better and more kids are doing it, but you know, the reason we started it was for the recreational swim team type kid. You know, we don't claim to be an Olympic training program, but the kids get a lot out of it and it's insanely popular, so.
My daughter loves it.
Yeah, I think it's great, and you know what? One of our aquatics managers is also the high school swim coach, and she runs our aqueduct program basically. Yeah, she's great, so in my opinion, you really get a bang for your buck in that aqueduct. So, yeah, so that's where,
Do you still do rentals for like the scuba classes anymore?
you know what, they, North Atlantic Scuba, at times, not as, they were consistent for a while.
I did mine there.
Yeah, it's, you know, so we have, I mean, it's not to move past, but it'll get to kind of some of that stuff.
Yeah.
We bumped like our walk-in guests, if you wanted to come into an open swim and swim, it used to be $7, we went up to $10, which within the market is still under, but it's fair to us, and children are up to $7 from 5. The swim meet fees, long-term rental, diving board rental, and multi-purpose, most of those were all long-term rentals. We kept those consistent, actually didn't increase them. Those we're okay with on our end, and we do need to, I feel, to a degree, reward loyalty, and it's good to have consistent, good clients in there. If you look at the pool party, $200 up to $250, which to me is still a tremendous deal. I said it earlier, my son is a junior in college. I think I paid $200 when he turned 5, 7, and 9. I had 3 of his birthdays at the pool. It's just such a great, an hour in the pool and then an hour in the party room with pizza for how much birthday parties cost now. I still think going up to $250 is a great deal. The private lessons that we teach from 35 up to 50. We're just, the rates we pay our staff now has gone up quite a bit from when we were at that, so in the $50 still within the market, it's a good price.
It's half price.
I was gonna say, yeah, you're right,
Anything's on it now.
100 or more even
Yeah.
at some places with some people, so. And then the Friday night lights, we used to call Friday night pool party, and the dive-in movie nights, those were 25. The increase on those are real simple. One, salaries for the lifeguards have gone up a little bit, and to be quite honest, not that it's still not a great deal, but the price of pizza's gone up a little bit, and we buy pizza for the program, so that's it. I still know parents love that. It's a great drop off for a couple of hours, and you know, they swim and have a pizza party. It's really a great take. As we scroll down, any questions on those things?
What is the all-in pool after-school program?
Yeah, that is, we would do on half days.
It's not another pool, is it?
No. We'd have an instructor walk over to Alden, get the kids and bring them over after school, like picture after school athletics, put in the pool.
Okay, excellent.
Thank you. And that's a good program as well. Then we jump into our aqueducts, which I just finished talking about. Those needed to go up. The cost of our staff, and I mean, I think Alex, you can speak firsthand to it, that I think if you look at our proposed increases, I still think people are doing very well.
Still great, yeah.
What are the levels, ages?
And ability,
Ability.
more ability. And those, so I mean, you can see the increases are what they are right there, and again, they just dictate the price of everything. The price around the pool's gone up, chemicals cost more, everything, so. And again, I'll let the chairman be our supporter of that, those are good prices. The water aerobics and aqua zumba, those have gone up, and you know, those look like a pretty substantial increase, but those prices hadn't changed, and it's, you look at 10 weeks, you're looking at what it was at $4 a class. Just, I hate to say it doesn't exist anymore. Right? So still at the 70 there, that's at $7 a class is still a really good deal. We pay an instructor. The Zumba you'll see costs a little bit more than the aqua aerobics. That requires we buy some additional equipment for those classes, as well as the Zumba will meet a little bit more often than the aqua aerobics too, which is why you'll notice the difference in the fees. And I'm following along up there, not looking at my sheet. Is that?
Yeah, that's the end.
That's the end of it. So like I said, to summarize, we didn't touch memberships just because I still feel we need to keep a separation of our, due to our uniqueness of just a pool. But then every other service we provide is where we're kind of looking for those fee increases.
Family Kingsbury is 300 per month now. All right, anyone have any questions for Steve?
Did you get an estimate as to what you think the revenue increase would be from X to Y?
Well, our increase is about 51% on what our rates are, so. We,
lose some just because of the increase.
correct.
How well advertised are these programs? Do you look online for it?
Yeah, they're on our websites, they go out to all the kids in the school, for our social media, which is Twitter, Instagram, we put it on there. Olivia, who's our social department assistant, she's the expert on that stuff, does a great job, and she does better than just block letters that I would probably type up on there. She's
So a great job on the beach.
yeah, she does that as well, so, yeah. So no, I think we do a pretty good job with that.
Thank you.
We ready to vote?
I move we accept the fees for the pool as presented.
Second.
All right, any further discussion?
No questions.
All right. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Abstain? All right, motion carries 6-0-0. Thanks, Steve.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time as well. Yep.
Spreadsheet.
Did we get a copy of that?
Yes, yeah, everything should have been.
I'm sure I got it. I just been over the long for the last couple of weeks.
Playing that cat looks like it wants to climb that tree.
It's looking at it.
You're muted, sorry.
You're still muted, Lynn.
No, that's actually a raccoon. Some guy with a wildlife camera and a Christmas tree outside in his yard was taking pictures of animals that would come by and look at the tree. And yeah, these aren't photoshopped. They're actually real animals that just come by and yeah,
That's cool.
yeah.
Okay, so. I'm. Let me see if I can make this.
Yeah, see if you can zoom it up a bit.
Okay, so. Jake is, so let me get the headers in, so we can see what we're doing, looking to increase shellfishing fees, looks like it's $5 on the resident, $5 on the non-resident, and creating one for seniors and veterans of $10. And Jake's explanation is fees are Harbor Master Department fees and related receipts are intended to cover the incurred costs and expenses in the town of Duxbury. The adjustments and fees are necessary to cover incurred increases of providing the services. The receipts are intended to offset the incurred expenses and incurred costs in the town for the services provided. So. Yeah, Jake, that's all we have. Is, I think the letter in this spreadsheet that was emailed over, with the other ones, so. I don't know, to me, this didn't look overly contentious, but happy to have anyone else weigh in.
Looks like, given that the last increases were last year, it looks like he's staying on top of this. Very minor increases.
Yeah.
I wish we could get some measure of workload and revenue with these insurances.
How much enforcement there is?
Well,
I'm a avid shellfish.
yeah, what are we talking about? 5,000 licenses, 2,000?
So it's, here's, in 24, this is, it looks like we had, we sold about almost 300 licenses in last year for resident and 560 for non-residents, and looks like seniors were 580.
It's on the chart, I can't see it.
Yeah. Just see if I can-
That's okay. I'll look at my email. Licenses, there it is, got it, 24 licenses. Nice.
Yeah, so I mean, not, you know, almost $100,000.
Hey,
I had no idea it was supposed to be, I'm here for a shellfish meeting, I had no idea.
and we're right there.
Oh, look at that, we just got here. Awesome.
So
Okay.
Alex, so this is if the current senior resident has been getting a shellfish license for $45, it's now reduced down to 10?
No. So currently, senior residents and veterans are no cost.
Okay,
And what we're proposing is we need to start making sure we cover some of our costs here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we hope to set it at 10 and leave it for a while. Yeah, but we need to, I mean, there's a physical cost with the printing of them.
Yeah.
Mailing them.
Yeah.
And there's a cost associated with it. And we sell approximately 580, which is a good amount when you look.
Compared to what-
Yeah.
Yeah.
And by veterans, by state statute, are allowed. You set your fee based on residency. And because we may have veterans that are older from another community, we need to make sure that we take care of them as well.
Is the harbor master enforcing this or police, or is like the way to quantify, like when you're enforcing, like checking licenses?
So that would be us, yeah.
That's all I do, is
Yeah,
there like a log or something of
Yep,
enforcement?
Yep. absolutely.
How do you validate a non-resident veteran with the DD 214?
That's done with, at the
When they get
municipal
permit.
services. Yeah,
That's when they get their permit, and they'll have a permit physically on them when they're on
Yep.
there.
yep, they're required to have
Yeah,
a
so you
permit.
have to have a precedent.
Yep. And again, so it would say a $5 increase for the other ones and a $10 increase, so.
Yeah.
We are selling, it's very popular.
That's a healthy number of licenses.
Yeah.
I can't believe how little resident there are. Compared to non-resident.
Well, they're working, they're.
They're also under this.
Yeah.
There is no delineation from senior
Okay.
non-resident as
Yeah.
opposed, so there's a senior resident. And there's a delineation between the two.
Seniors have moved more time to the office.
My dad. My dad gets his number, it's 0.
I know that Don Beers had, for his career, said that's one fee he never wanted to touch, but I think we're in a position in town where we need to start looking at things that we didn't wanna.
Yeah.
Look at.
And it's not,
Pretty nominal.
it's not outrageous.
Again, and you can mark it on the calendar that I think that once it's set, I think it's also, I checked with other communities and that's a similar charge.
One day it's claiming and they got $40 worth of claims.
Yeah,
If not more.
All right, any questions for Jay?
So my only comment is that if we're increasing the resident fee by 10%, shouldn't we increase the non-resident by the same percentage?
I didn't look at it as percentage wise, I'm looking at it as trying to stay within the cost of other communities, so we're in the same ballpark. And I want to stay competitive so we can, I don't want to price us out of people wanting to buy them for
Okay,
They're gonna go out. The only other competition Situate for us, like close by. Plymouth and Kingston have one?
So you'd be surprised at how far people come from. to
Oh,
do
I'm
this.
very, I'm
It's,
very
um,
avid player myself.
The only difference is the access to the areas. There's a lot more shut down areas in places like Marshfield, Situate.
Yeah,
We have a lot more open space. Well, as you get towards the Cape, that's where I compare
Yeah.
prices to is Cape.
Do we ever, and this is just curiosity,
Mhm.
do we ever look at the people who buy and oversands non-resident sticker and the people who say, you know, do those people buy these shell fishing licenses too?
Good question. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I was thinking that where you park,
Yeah.
if you're from out of town, you have a parking, like, see a lot of people clam out of, what's the beach there, Shipyard.
Shipyard.
how long's
Can't
it?
park there.
Right. The thing is, we have a considerable amount of shoreline and we don't, right on your permit, it doesn't say where you can
Right, no,
park, but the resource is there. Just like when you buy a hunting license, a fishing license. There's a resource, it's on the applicant to get to that resource.
Yeah. I mean, any concern with, you know, just in general, like with the number of licenses we have, overfishing or anything like that?
Yeah, so we do regularly, we do regular monitoring of that, and you'll see, like, for instance, for those who are into recreational shelter, you'll see that we're not. The season for soft shell clams is September, October, April, and May. Right now, we're not. We've had more bonus seasons in years past, but we're not opening it up because we have the amount of licensees that we have. It just, if we get a really nice Wednesday, we have a substantial amount of people that are out there digging that we wouldn't normally have, so we don't wanna deplete the resource. When we could keep it sustainable.
Any other questions for Jake?
Does the state have a role in this?
The state, the only role they have is to, they do our water sampling. And they control what we call the growing areas.
So they can control what it's.
So under home rule, the reason why we have this is under a town, every other state in the country doesn't have this. It's run through their Division of Marine Fisheries or whatever their game wardens are. Massachusetts, under home rule petition, has the ability to monitor, regulate, and that's why you have a shellfish advisory committee.
So would any of these people be commercial?
No, that is a separate fee.
I just saw where it's like one plant that processes shellfish and it's closed down.
Yeah, and we're fortunate that we don't have to do that. There's some communities that rely on those type of shellfish to be able to.
Boston Harbor.
Yes, yeah, to have a resource. There's also done out of the Taunton River where they have contaminated clams that you can reseed areas, but they're contaminated, so they need to be in a segregated area before you can open it. And you run a risk of introducing diseases like MSX and things like that could deplete our natural resource, and we're kind of hesitant towards doing something like that.
Yeah.
Where other communities rely on it heavily because they don't have the ability to manage their resource.
Anything else for Jake?
I apologize, I had no idea
No.
about that. I was on the dock.
Right on time.
Yeah.
You heard us talking before you got here.
Yeah. All right, someone wanna make a motion?
I'll move that we accept the shellfish licensing fees as proposed.
Second.
All right, any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? All right, motion carries 6-0. All right, that was all of the fees. One second, and I will talk a little bit about capital.
Let's see a raccoon from here.
Does?
Yeah.
Can't see its tail.
It's like, oh, friend.
It's like my sister's fat cat.
Yeah, some coon cats like that.
Maybe some sitting up like that. So, we got a little bit of feedback on our, priorities. And a little bit of good news. So the police tasers, they're not looking for them this year. So we can we can reallocate this $100,000. So this will go zero. This is coming in a couple of years. I talked to the chief on Monday, but it's at least 1 or 2 years out. So that's $100,000 we can reallocate. And Mary let me know that there's based on where she's landing with being able to fund some other projects with ARPA, that there's probably another $50,000 to $60,000 that we will have in free cash available to us to allocate to projects. So I think as of right now, where it sits, you know, we have with the tasers coming off and this other 60, we have about $160,000 that we can look at projects. I think one of the projects, or one, you know, capital item that we wanna talk through tonight and I invited the chief to come was the Tahoe, the fire department staff car. So I think it is this $72,000, chief, if I,
Yes,
that you know, we had in a, obviously in a priority B currently, but you know, wanted, you know, I think in looking at our initial priorities, town manager and Mary would like us to take a look at this one again and walk through it.
What was the couple of the estimated cost?
72,000.
72,000. Thank you. Yeah.
What was the staff car? What is the staff car to be?
So we have in our fleet, no different than the police, we have 5 Tahoes that we use and we rotate these ones through the use and we try to keep them. Our goal is 7 to 10 years is our shelf life on these. Some get used harder than others. They carry an extreme amount of equipment. We can't get Explorers because of the amount of equipment and they're welcome to come over and take a look at what we actually carry in these. So what we do is we try to replace them at a point where they're not constantly breaking. And if you look at our long range plan, this is, in my opinion, our golden year to replace this, because our next few years, we have major ticket items that we've delayed. And I think this is optimal to replace this. In addition to us replacing it, we are not getting any trading value for it. We're gonna hand this down to Steve Studley and Beach Operations. They've requested it. It's still a vehicle that can be used on the beach fine, and they've taken our other vehicles before. So it's not gonna end its life. Right now, what we're looking at are long-term fulfillment of vehicles. So if we don't get ahead of this stuff, we're not gonna see delivery for quite a while. So if we don't get to town meeting till March, we're looking at, in my opinion, anywhere from 8 to 12 months before we can see delivery on a vehicle like this. That's what we've seen in the past. We have ambulances on order that have been on order for a couple of years, and we're not gonna see them for a couple of years. I just spoke to the Pembroke chief tonight. He's looking at a 4-year delivery. These things aren't turning around. So I've really tried to sharpen the pencil with the quote and to come up with a long range plan for the next 5 years.
Perfect.
I think it's really good. It's pretty
Greatly
close to the
appreciated.
base MSRP, and
Yes,
you don't have a lot of specialized equipment that goes in the fire one, like the police is 91,000 for the same vehicle.
so what we are able to do is we are transferring equipment over and not buying everything, and we're doing our best, and that's why this price is low. 90,000 is the average of what all these fire and police departments are asking for. We were just fortunate enough that we're gonna be able to transfer stuff, but keep it in a condition that the beach can use it without any issues.
Yeah, and I don't know if everyone saw Karen's email that came over this afternoon, but the police vehicle has a souped up frame, or frame and chassis, brake
Cooling
suspension,
system.
cooling system. So it's, yeah, it's meant for,
It has to be
Police
as
force
idle
use.
and all
Yeah.
that too.
Yeah.
Okay,
It's a no brainer when you talk about like, you know, the recycling with using it with another department. It's great.
yeah, well, like the fire doesn't get to transfer much of the stuff from one vehicle to the next as well. I mean, police doesn't get to transfer much.
We're fortunate, everything that's going in there, you know, from, cardiac equipment, EMS bags, throwbacks, you start to go through the tools, all that stuff gets recycled, cleaned up, and we try to put it in. When we take those command boxes out of the back, we have some creative and handy people over there who take it out, clean it up and make the thing look brand new, so we do our best to try to cut this price down the best we can.
Have you worked with Steve to let him know that you're transferring it if?
Oh, he's very excited, and he asked me to please tell you that he's 100% on board, and if you'd like to talk to him,
You don't know if he's gonna drop one of his cars.
that would be a question for
Okay, yeah.
him, but he has one of ours now
yeah.
that has well over 200,000 miles.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, right now
Into
it's,
the beach.
right now it's just a shed. That car is, I don't think moves, I think it is a,
Is this the one that's parked on?
yes. This
Out
is the
of
one,
the dune structure.
yeah, this one is just a storage.
Keeping the sand from going across the
Yeah.
bay.
But yeah, that car that, the fire department handed down was the first vehicle when rec department took over the beach that we really gave them in.
And that was a 10-year-old vehicle,
Yeah.
over 200,000 miles. But the one thing I'll say is, we try to maintain these vehicles as best we can, and so when we hand them down, we know that they're gonna be handed down, we know that they're not going to someone else, and we do our best, and that's no different than the vehicle that we'll hand down to him now, that we maintain until we're ready to get rid of it, and we'll help him. We have people that will take the stickers off and make it appropriate, so he doesn't need to send it out and spend more money, so we'll work.
Do we have any sense of request the 85,000? This would be,
So, there's one item, the school has asked us to think through their technology ask, which was $300,000. They said if they had to choose between the loading dock and the technology, they said allocate the $100,000 to the technology.
Do they have a priority on their list?
So I was able to,
we have this stuff, I don't know.
so I just,
We gave the one big hunk item. What was the big hunk item?
$350 for curriculum.
Alex, did facilities weigh in on that? Of course, they want their priority, but the loading dock is really in unsafe condition.
So that was, this was just from the schools. So I don't know if they talked to Katie or not.
Right.
Doing that tonight anyway. I just wanted to have a rough idea. what-
Yeah, we certainly don't have to tackle it tonight.
But there's items within that technology
Yeah,
that we still have the gap here. Maybe we could say this is what's available left over.
yeah, so there, I mean, I think in my mind, the,
My grandson.
the access points,
Yeah.
in that technology aspect, it's about $80,000, 80,388 is
He's
what I got from
He's only
Lisa.
6.
Um,
He's big on that stuff.
you know, I think that's foundational to how we teach today. Making sure those access points are adequate and whatnot, but, you know, the rest of the technology asks,
I think the access points were at the top of the list too.
yeah. So,
On
Yes.
on this one here,
I'll give you a little, I'm gonna give you a little more, just to show you. We don't come to you unless we absolutely need it, so, Steve, we wrote a grant years ago, we got our 6x6. Today, I just got the funding, the letter approved, actually, I'm sorry, it was yesterday. So we're gonna get a new 4x4 and trailer, Steve's gonna get our 6x6 and our trailer to keep down at the beach. So we do our best, and we just contacted our senators to try to, because next year is an engine. That's over $1 million. So we're getting senator support to try to get these grants. So we're doing our best to not come to you and ask for anything unless we have to.
You still have the vehicle technician that works on your trucks?
I do. It's unbelievable. And he does it on duty. He works some overtime, but his overtime rate is a fraction of what these mechanics are charging us elsewhere.
ready for a motion, do you think?
yeah, yeah, I'll entertain a motion to move, the fire chief staff car from priority B to priority A.
So moved.
Well, Alex, don't we need to still vote on removing the tasers too?
Yeah, we can, yeah,
So can I amend the motion to also include removal of the police tasers?
Second.
all right. Let's deal with the taser motion first. All those in favor of removing the tasers from priority A, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? All right, motion carries 600, so that zeroes out our taser line. And we have a motion and a second on moving this chief's staff car from priority B to priority A. Any further discussion? All right, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstain? All right, motion carries 600. Chief.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I appreciate all your time, and I hope you all have your power tonight.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, your department does a great job of managing vehicles.
Yeah.
We have some good people, and listen, Chief Norton was forward thinking when he hired a firefighter who also doubles as a paramedic.
Yeah.
To have that in our house, and it's just, it puts us at an advantage, it really does, yeah, so. All right, thank you all.
Yeah, be safe, Chief.
Something happened this 9 years back, and I don't think they were, for years, we never were. It's like a main trunk or something. Now. Strong breeze or. So, but then I was driving down that this afternoon, I was coming back from the gym, and they're right near Merrimack, there's a big pine tree across the wires, I said, they get home, can't look at it. Storm, shock. This last time I was, that we should get out of it at least at some point. I think we've had so many wind events that, the low hanging fruit is all falling to the ground already.
Yeah.
This time, and of course, now the leaves are out of the trees, that helps.
Yeah. And if they weren't this morning, they are now.
So. I guess I'll defer to the group of. You know, we have about. Just do some.
Should be about 75,000, 80.
Yeah, like that,
85.
Oh. Plus the 50, 60 in ARPA funds. Right?
Yeah, about
So,
80,000.
yeah, so could we put 80 towards the school technology and have them cover the priority access points?
That would probably be my preference. And leave, and leave the loading dock. For now, yeah,
Yes,
yeah. Okay, so that's here.
Frank, did you note that the access points was 80 or was it 72? Do you remember?
So I got an email from Lisa on Monday. That has the phase 3 access point replacement project at 80,388.
Okay,
Do you need some kind of a motion in moving that direction?
I do.
I move that we approve funding the access points as part of the technology request from the schools. An amount of 83,000,
80,000.
80,000.
388. Yeah.
Right.
Can I get a second?
I'll second.
Any further discussion?
No.
All right, all those in favor? Aye. Oppose? Abstain? All right, motion carries 600.
are we putting in 83, whatever? 388, okay.
80,388.
All right. All right, anything else on Article 6 that people have any second thoughts about or want to talk about?
Would we want to propose a Plan B on Article 6 within the context of the increase in budget that the town might approve?
I think the short answer is maybe. I don't think we have the number at this point, so I think it's something we're going to have to tackle probably in January. It'll be my guess.
You
Because,
won't know till the floor of the town meeting what we could actually act on.
right,
But we need to have a list of something
We
that
should have
we have.
yeah,
a priority plan.
yeah,
That was sort of my takeaway. I had confusion by some of the comments relating override and capital and override and operating, and I'm just not sure why there would be that distinction, seeing as how what we're approving is a rate of increase on the tax levy. It's over and above 2.5%, right?
yes,
Okay.
yeah. And so I think typically all of that goes to the operating budget with a small carve out for anything with debt finance under the levy. And so so that's where we need to sort of get Mary's take on, are they going to budget into the override an amount that would potentially increase debt service under the levy?
Excellent.
Which would then, I think, allow us to potentially
You're in the catbird seat
debt,
for that.
debt service.
Yeah.
Some of these priority Bs, which are, which I think is the only way we get the fuel depot in. At $550,000.
So Alex, on that, how do we go about moving the approved funding for the canopy to the engineering effort for the fuel depot?
Yeah, so I, that's another thing we need to talk to Mary about. I think that's an easier one. What we've done historically for things like that, Candy, is we'll whatever, I think there's like $70,000 in that article. We would put in priority A $70,000, and when we did the warrant. It would. I think instead of raise and appropriate, or from whichever the funding source with free cash, or I forget how we do it. It would list a funding source as, previously approved article, and it would list the article in the town meeting year. I think it's historically how we've done it. But that's, another thing we need to sort of, coordinate with Mary and Randy when they have a little time. So,
So you said the reaction to our budget with the feedback was generally okay?
Yeah,
Good.
yeah, I mean, we didn't, it was, from Mary, it was, police came back and said, hey, we don't need tasers, so that saved us 100,000, and then when Mary and Randy went through it, asked us, would, if we, since that money is now available, could we prioritize the
Well, they're closer to the action than we are, so that's helpful. Yeah, I keep thinking in terms of the override, that part of the picture that we are responsible for is the out year capital issues.
Yeah,
Without having an eyeball on the notion of what funds are needed in order to be able to accommodate that in the future. And I don't know quite how to do that because of the issues of within the override funding, borrowing versus the excluded. I don't know how to do it.
yeah, I think another aspect of it is, so if an override does not pass and we end up going with this level funded budget. My fear is that there will be no free cash generated,
Correct.
which would then impact
Stop.
our budget for next year.
Unless we did it all through excluded borrowing.
Capital exclusions, which I mean, is
You still have to pay for it.
still. Yeah, and I mean, this equipment that's required to run the town. We still need it.
Well, that's why I think that kind of a message ought to be included in the dialogue
Yeah.
that you guys are working on for the
Yeah.
sustainable budget.
Yeah, and it's, yeah, I can certainly, if anyone has questions on the sustainable budget committee and what we sort of analysis we went through and talk through, I'm happy to do that. I would, I'll sort of avoid doing it now just because it's not an agenda topic, but I'm happy to put it on the next one. If people want to talk.
Well, if you think we can help.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think it's gonna, I think it's gonna take, it's gonna take.
This is a bigger issue than.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think where. I think where our group sort of fits into everything is going to be, we obviously can't be seen as campaigning, but I think we can make sure that the facts are distributed.
Yeah.
And clearly articulated.
Maybe we should polish up the 5-year plans for all of the departments and come up with some numbers.
Yeah.
Just so we have some of a dialogue basis to
Yeah.
talk about it.
Yeah, so I mean, I can check with Mary to make sure that, that ClearGov is our source of truth for that,
Yeah, I know, that's,
which makes
that
me
bothered me this year.
makes me a little nervous.
Yeah.
Especially the out years.
Well, we have other tools at hand to be able to do that.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, in my mind, the biggest open, and we see it in the Article 6 stuff here now is, the maintenance of the buildings. If we keep kicking the can down the road on our preventative maintenance routines, we're gonna start to, we're gonna pay for it in the end.
That's a big one, it's a lot of items.
Roofs and HVAC systems and, I think Katie's doing a great job of, trying to do what we've been asking our facilities directors to do for years, which is give us a scorecard. Give us a report card on these buildings so that we can, understand the age of the envelope, the age of the HVAC, the age of the roof, you know.
She has been working on a database, so maybe it's sometime we should interact with that.
Yeah, I know she's, you know, she uses school dudes for her PM stuff and. It seems like it has a lot more functionality that was never utilized.
Explore it, we could be.
Yeah, to help, you know, track the age of our systems by building. All right.
Sure.
Yeah, motion to adjourn.
One thing, can we approve minutes from last week?
Yeah, we sure can.
I make a motion to approve the minutes from December 4th.
All right, any discussion?
Thank you. Karen.
All those in favor? Aye. Oppose? One abstain? All right, motion carries 5-0-1. Now I'll take a motion. All right, all's in favor?
Aye.
Aye.